The international lingerie brand that redefined nude. Nubian Skin was founded by Ade Hassan. With a career in corporate before launching into the retail sector, Ade has been awarded an MBE to services to the retail industry, with products being seen on stars like Beyonce Knowles.
I would say one of the most pivotal points in my career was the moment when I realized, what I wanted to create. So I was working in consulting at the time and not particularly enjoying the role that I was on. And I had been thinking about what I wanted to do for a business, because I did want to start my own business. And it was like a light bulb went on, and I just thought, you know what, I can never find skin tone lingerie or hosiery that actually matches my skin color. So it was at that moment that I sort of figured out what I wanted to do. So once I came up with the idea for Nubian Skin, I was then incredibly excited, but I knew that I needed to save quite a bit of money for startup capital, because I planned to finance it myself. And so I quit my job in consulting because I wasn't loving that anyway, and I went back into finance, which is where I started my career, and that would enable me to save significantly more money for me to put into my business. And so I sort of started a new job and hit the ground running and loved it, loved the team, loved the clients that I was working with, but always in the back of my head knowing that I had this goal to start my own business. I'd come up with the concept in 2011, and I didn't actively start working on it until 2013. I remember I told one friend about the idea, and I remember receiving a card from her, a late birthday card. It was May 2013, and across the front it said, "It's time to start living the life you've always imagined." And on the inside was a really lovely note just saying how amazing she thought the idea was and how she couldn't wait to see me on the cover of Forbes one day. And that was really the catalyst. I started, the next day I registered the company, started looking at trademarks, and then really sort of was possessed with getting this business started. So doing lots of research, found a consultant to give me a bit of advice on the industry, started creating the colors, which took me about a year and a half. And then I remember in August 2014, I had the photo shoot. And so I finally had my samples and I had the photo shoot for the images that were going to go on the website. And that was around the time, I remember putting that on Instagram. We had about 50 followers then. And I put the photo of these 4 girls in our new collection on Instagram, and the campaign went viral. And that was really the beginning, because then all of a sudden we had so many people who were interested in this product which was going to launch. We finally launched in October 2014. So yeah, it was a long journey from idea, I guess, to launch. That was about 3 years, from 2011 to 2014, and here we are 7 years later. So one of the first key challenges when I started running Nubian Skin that I came across was there's a very big difference between launching a company and then running a company. So all of my effort and all of my sort of angst had been around launching this business, launching Nubian Skin. And when we did launch, and we launched to, that was pretty amazing, especially because the campaign had gone viral. And so I thought, oh my goodness, everything's going to be wonderful. But, at that time it was just me and an intern, and really getting to understand how to run a company was an entirely different thing than actually launching it. And so that was something that was incredibly challenging, because all of a sudden I had to be, HR, I had to be customer service, I had to be press, like it was all pretty overwhelming. And it's something, that I'm still coming to grips with it. I still feel like I'm a novice, even though I've been in the industry now for 7 years. And then I would say the second biggest challenge has definitely been understanding how to build a solid foundation for a business. I'd sort of always, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs fall into this trap of thinking, you know, I know the business, I know what I want, I know what I need, I'm an intelligent person, I can figure it out. And so I would just say, okay, this needs to be done, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. And it meant that I was putting a lot on myself. I was essentially putting on myself the running and the success of the company. So one of the things that I've learned, because that does lead to burnout, is really the importance of building a team that can adequately support you and sustain the business, but also position the business for growth. And so, yeah, I think finding the right team to do that has been a big challenge, but definitely one of the biggest learning lessons. So in additional to pivotal moments, I'd say probably one of the highlights of my professional career from when I started Nubian Skin was finding out that I had been nominated to receive an MBE. I remember it was 2017. It had been a difficult year professionally. You know, I was just coming to grips with lots of things. Some things hadn't quite worked out the way that I wanted. And, you know, I'd been putting my all into this business and was kind of feeling like, you know, when am I going to see the rewards? And I remember I'd gone off on holiday, a weekend away, just sort of with friends and my husband, and my sister had actually, she was over at my parents' flat and it was sent to my parents' place, and she just sends me something saying, "Ooh, I think you might have done something either really bad or potentially really good." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Oh, there's a letter here from Her Majesty's Services." And I just remember thinking, oh, she must mean HMRC, and I haven't done my tax return, so clearly I've got a fine. And so I was like, okay, can you just open it up and tell me how much I owe for not turning in my tax return on time? And then she sends me a series of text messages which just say OMG, OMG, OMG. And I thought, oh my goodness, it can't be that much of a fine. And then she sent me a screenshot, and it was a letter saying, you have been nominated to receive an MBE for services to fashion. And I just remember crying. I just broke down into tears and was crying, because it felt like, you know, it's like, oh wow, okay, this is important. It is important to be trying to increase representation within the industry, and people, you know, acknowledge that and see that. And so that was a really, really lovely point in my career. And I would say a second key moment or pivotal point in my life has been the birth of my son. I had a baby a little bit over a month ago, and you know, I have always been obviously quite focused on my career and quite focused on my business, and I've, you know, have always loved children and wanted a family, and so having him has just been absolutely transformational, and really helped me sort of, it's actually given me a lot more motivation for my business, but it also helps me keep a bit of perspective. So Nubian Skin as a brand, to me, just feels, it was so important, and one of the reasons I was so passionate and am passionate about it is because representation is so important. You know, I knew for myself, that I was so frustrated at not being able to find something to do with something as basic as the color of my skin, and I knew there were so many other women out there who felt the same way, and it is amazing. It's an amazing thing that you know, nude in lingerie and hosiery is such a pervasive color, and it's something that, you know, you can walk into a department store, and so for a significant part of the population to be able to walk into a department store and just know that they are not represented blows my mind. And so behind that, I think that was really what drove me to create Nubian Skin, because it is important. It's important for people to know that people care about their skin, that people care about, you know, representing them, that people care about catering to them, because everybody deserves to feel like, you know what, if I want something that complements my skin, that matches my skin, you know, for a large part of the population, it's a non-issue, they're catered to, but for women with darker skin, that wasn't the case. And so I'm just very, very passionate about people embracing their color, seeing it as something positive, feeling comfortable in their skin, and knowing that they too are worth being represented and being catered to. And that's really, really important to me. And, we receive so many beautiful messages from people. I remember one, I think she said, I'm a 60-something-year-old brown girl and I have never been able to find, tights my color or bra my color, and I wish this existed when I was younger. And so we get messages from people like that who are a little bit older. We get messages from people who, I remember one email, it was a young woman. She said, I'm a student, I live in Wales, there aren't very many people that look like me here, but I'm saving up to buy my first piece of Nubian Skin because I just can't believe that something like this exists for me. And it's really that, it's for people feeling seen, people knowing that they're seen, and people knowing that I just want people to be proud of the skin that they're in. I'm often asked the question, how do I manage work-life balance? And that has definitely changed over the years. And I would always answer that very honestly. I remember, especially at the beginning of Nubian Skin, people would ask how I balance it, and I would just look at them and say, I don't. There is no balance. Because at one point, truthfully speaking, it was just, just work. I was just putting in the hours and working crazy amounts, and I don't think I could do that now. I don't think I have the energy, but then I did have the energy, and I was obsessed. So there wasn't much work-life balance at the beginning, and last year actually was a really interesting moment for me because I had my son at the end of January, and then I had a couple of weeks of normalcy, and then all the news started trickling in about COVID, and so just like pretty much every business, particularly in retail, it was sort of all of a sudden all hands on deck. People stopped buying things. It was a really panicked moment, and I remember having to put staff on furlough and eventually made some staff redundant, and so I was there with a newborn, in lockdown, and I was doing, our team shrunk to a team of 2, and I had this newborn and was doing customer service and doing operations and doing the majority of the roles outside of marketing, and it was brutal. And if you want a lesson or a case study for how to not have work-life balance, that was it. So it was wonderful because I was spending all this time with my son, but it was also really, really stressful because the business needed me as well, and it was very hard to try and balance that. Luckily, in the summer, my husband was able to take shared parental leave, and that was amazing. And so for me, having a supportive spouse has been phenomenal. And when I say, during the time before he was on shared parental leave, he was still really, really involved. And we were just trying to make it work with this little newborn because he was working full time, I was working full time, and we had this baby who needed our attention all the time as well. So really having a supportive partner has been pivotal in me getting any semblance of balance. And then in September last year, we were able to actually get childcare, and that sort of changed the game entirely because one, I was more purposeful about, I want to have some time for my baby. Where it's calm and I can enjoy him, but also knowing that now I actually have time where I can focus on work. And now the team is bigger again, which is fantastic, and we've grown the team in a really intelligent way. And so there's people who are amazing professionals at what they do now, and that has been phenomenal for me because I finally feel like I have the right support in the team, and having people that I trust and who really know what they're doing has made a huge difference when it comes to work-life balance, because it means that I can trust people and don't feel like I have to micromanage everything. And so that's just given me room to breathe and be more creative as an entrepreneur. And it's also given, and then having the childcare as well has given me room to be able to focus when I need to, but then also get to spend lots of lovely time with my baby and not feel so stressed. So it's a combination of making sure that I have support at home, with a really supportive spouse, and in my case, having childcare, and then also having an amazing support system at work with a team that's fit for purpose. to describe my personal style, I would say 3 words. One would be classic, colourful, and fun. I have always loved the way style plays into my professional life. So for me, I very much think style is a part of, how I present myself in professional settings, and obviously now as a business leader, I think it still remains incredibly important. I remember when I was working in the corporate environment, I loved, it's like coordinating shoes and accessories and just making sure it looked super sharp. And I do think for myself, if I'm going to an important meeting, just for the way I feel, I love feeling put together. I loved feeling like, I've dressed to conquer the world. And I when I go to a meeting, I also think it's respectful, and maybe that's the way I was brought up, but it is, respectful to the person that you're meeting, that I've made an effort, I've put in an effort to make sure that I've put my best foot forward for you. So for me personally, I do think that, putting in the effort and my personal style is important for me professionally. When I refer to a power look, it isn't necessarily, one specific thing. So it's not like, I was wearing a black suit, and a white shirt. It's not necessarily something like that. It's very much about how I feel. And so that can change depending on the season, it can change depending on the day. Quite frankly, it just changes with my mood. And so it really is, I think style is so fluid, and I'm trying to think of an instance, where I've had a meeting where I've just sort of thought, ooh, yes, actually, I have one in mind. I think it was I was giving a presentation, I was giving a talk, and I remember her being gifted this beautiful Grace Wells Bonner top, which is it's like an ivory silk shirt, and I had on these high-waisted, I think it was self-portrait trousers. It was really nicely tailored, and putting that on, I had my Nubian Skin underneath, and I just felt like $1 million. And so feeling that way and then going in and presenting, I think it was either a panel or a presentation, but it just made me feel great. I felt great because I was wearing underneath, I felt great because of what I had on the outside, and yeah, I can remember literally the specific items, because for me it's important. It's a part of expressing myself. I am a fan of colour generally. I also, in colour, that involves also sedate colours like, ivory or black or white. But I do, and I'm very, very partial to pink. I know it's super girly, but I love it. And I've loved it ever since I was a little girl. And so sometimes just having a little bit of pink, like a pink accessory, maybe it's a scarf, or maybe it's a dress. I love pink. And I also really, really like just ivory, like a little bit of an off-white. I just think it's so, it's just quite chic. I love it. If I could go back to the beginning, if I could go back 7 years and speak to myself, oh my goodness, I would have a laundry list of things to say. But I would definitely just reiterate, have faith in yourself. Like sometimes where you doubt your ability, or you doubt your knowledge or your skills, just have faith in yourself. And I would definitely advise a younger me to ask for help sooner. Know that yes, fine, you might be smart, yes, you might be intelligent, yes, you can work really, really hard, but you don't have to do it all on your own. You can really build a team that will support you, because now I have one and it's amazing, and I just can't believe it took me so long to do it. And so I would do that. Have more faith in yourself. Just be more confident in your ability at knowing your business, because it's your business, and then to ask for help, build a support system within the company sooner rather than later. I've been thinking a lot about, and it was sort of my mantra at the end of last year, and it's definitely my mantra going into this year, and it is faith, hope and gratitude. So looking, I guess, at the next 3 to 5 years, if I sort of look on the business front, definitely one of my key goals is to grow and scale the business, and alongside that also growing the team in a really intelligent way. Those are 2 really big goals. And then on a personal level, it's, just really being able to enjoy family, being able to enjoy the blessing that's my son and my husband, and who knows, I guess in 3 to 5 years, maybe even growing the family. Definitely growing the business, growing the team, and enjoying family. So one of the things that I am super excited about, actually, there's multiple things I'm super excited about with Nubian Skin in the near future. One is going to be the release of a new collection. Last year we had an amazing sellout collection. It was called the Plume Tease collection, and people just loved it, and so we're doing a Plume Tease 2.0, which is sort of an upgrade of what people loved last year, and so super excited for that to come out. And then one of the other things is our retail partnerships. We stopped selling wholesale for a little while a couple of years ago, and we are now launching. We've just launched with Urban Outfitters, but we'll be launching with John Lewis imminently, as well as Net-a-Porter, and we're so excited about that. As soon as lockdown ends, or very soon after lockdown ends, I just envision, weeks of catching up with friends, hopefully after the vaccine, just hugging people and, just enjoying all the brilliant things on offer, going to restaurants, going to museums, and feeling, safe doing that, feeling safe being close to loved ones again. I can't wait, one, to wear all the clothes that I've bought during lockdown with nowhere to wear them to. Just wearing those beautiful clothes and then going to beautiful restaurants and cafes and seeing all the wonderful, beautiful people that I love and just enjoying their company.